the Parentalist. Our superb man today is so family orientated, it shows in his workplace. He is so determined, he makes outrageous personal goals. Not only that, his mum has one inspiring story that he's going to share with us today. Let's go. Our superb man today has won a bunch of awards. In 2011 he won Innovator of the Year, Best Workplace in 2012, High Tech Exporter of the Year and Best Service Product of the Year in 2013. He's raised over $11 million in capital in just 3 years. He's a founder and CEO of Vend, and he's actually rode the length of New Zealand in his for charity and has a really big moustache. Welcome to Vaughan Rowsell.
Hey, how are you going?
Really great, thank you. So Vaughan, what's your greatest joy as a parent?
Well, of course, I have to say my children. As a busy entrepreneur, it's always that balance between giving all of your focus to a business and saving enough of your focus for your family. So I cherish every moment I get with my two daughters. They literally are the biggest thing I'm blessed with in life. I'm lucky that I'm pretty fortunate in business, but I'm more lucky that I'm very lucky with my family.
Oh, that's awesome. So we have lots of great memories of us when with our current family, but we've also got memories of our childhood. Do you have any fond memories that you like to think of?
Oh, yeah. I think just being a kid, as you get older, I think those memories of the time when you're so free become more and more cherished and more valuable, So the summer holidays, going camping, I think for me that kind of epitomized my whole childhood. Was the long endless summer where you just roamed and you made your own adventures, whether you're exploring in the countryside or going camping or just whiling away the afternoons at the beach. I think those are the things. I mean, they're the bits that I guess you always in one way are trying to relive your childhood. And so those are the things that if I could, I would replicate. But probably not so much for me, but more for my kids. Giving them the same opportunities to create these amazing memories.
That's great, and that's all about New Zealand's holiday season, isn't it? The camping, the outdoors.
Yeah.
Just love New Zealand.
We're very lucky. I mean, we don't know how lucky we are.
Absolutely.
I travel a lot with work, and it never ceases to blow me away every time I come back home. And just how great we've got it. I mean, we're still not perfect. I mean, we don't. We lack some of the size and bustle and vibrance of some of our bigger brothers, like San Francisco and London and Tokyo. But what we've got in spades. So we're pretty lucky.
Absolutely. Now we all have quotes that motivate and inspire us. Do you have a quote that you really like?
I do. There's one that I think about quite a lot, and it seems like a trivial quote. And it's I probably actually won't even get the quote correct, but it was something that Eddie Izzard once said, which is, it's 90% what you look like and 10% who you are. Which that means a lot to me on a number of different levels. So it's always striving to be different. Something that people will remember you by. And, unfortunately, people can be a little bit fickle. So sometimes it's just the difference of, wearing a loud T-shirt or having a big moustache or, doing something crazy, which makes you memorable, And once you've got that mind share, once people have something to connect with you, then that makes a huge difference in all endeavors. So not just business, just, personal life as well. And you've only got one life, so you might as well make it the most interesting and exciting one you can. So, and if you can do that by being memorable, I mean, when our time is up here, the only thing we leave behind is our memories with other people. So
Yeah,
that's what I think about a lot.
that's great. So do you have, what do you believe is your greatest success?
My greatest success. I don't think I've had it yet.
Wow.
Yeah, I like to do a lot of challenges. I strive not to live a life less ordinary, you know. So live a life ordinary. I try to live a life less ordinary. So like every year I do a crazy challenge, something that really pushes.
Yes, you do.
Pushes my boundaries, takes me out of my comfort zone. And so I think just doing that, I think that's my biggest success and my biggest achievement in this life is being able to constantly challenge myself. So not finding myself falling into a regular routine and a regular cruising flight pattern. So, like for example, this year I just finished a 1 year non-drinking challenge just to see,
Yes.
you know, if I could, go dry for a year and what it would be like, and that was really interesting, you know. So stopping having the occasional beer or glass of wine was actually the easy bit. It was the social bit that was really weird, you know, because drinking has become such a large part of our culture.
Yes.
Yeah, and so my current challenge is to run 1,000 kilometers. So
Wow.
yeah, so in a year. So it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. It's you have to keep on track to run about 3 kilometers a day, which in itself doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have to do that every single day for 365 days of the year, then it starts to add up. So stuff like that. And I don't know what my challenge is going to be next year, but it's probably going to be a doozy.
Absolutely. So you're really successful in your business and you set these challenges up for yourself. Do you have like a support system in place for you to be able to do these things, or is it just all self-motivation?
Yeah, it's called my family. So, just surrounding yourself by positive people who understand you and you know, love you for who you are. I mean, I've developed a number of little devices and tips and techniques that I use to overcome, you know, everyday obstacles. You know, I think I can boil it down as like if it feels difficult and if I feel like I'm getting ready to quit on something, I question myself. I ask myself why. Enough times that, you know, eventually I come to the conclusion that there is no real good reason to quit on it. So keep going. You know, if it's starting to feel hard, then you're probably doing it right.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So you've set yourself huge challenges, like you say, with going dry for a year, and you've cycled the whole of New Zealand. How important is it for you that your children also challenge themselves to do big things?
Yeah. So I mean, I obviously don't push them to do crazy ass challenges like I do, but
Sure.
I think it's really important for them to have a role model. So they're very proud of their dad. I mean, every kid is, right? But
Awesome.
they love the fact that I do these crazy things. So
Yeah.
I like to think that when they get older, as life's obstacles get in the way, they don't let them become barriers because their dad never let geography stop them from riding from one end of the country to the other. So why should they let whatever obstacle that's facing them stop them?
Absolutely. If Dad did it, well, maybe I could just take the extra step further to carry on, you know?
And so the inspiration for that came from my mother. So, my mother was a solo parent. She raised me and my two brothers single-handedly from a wheelchair. She was
wow.
She had been a paraplegic since she was the age of 16, and so single-handedly raising a family of two boys on the
wow.
DPB in Auckland, and she was just an amazing woman. She just never let
sounds like it. Absolutely.
impossible to get in the way. If there's something that us boys needed, she found a way for us to get it. And she had this most infectious personality. So she smiled the whole time. You know, life was one big joy for her. So every day she had was special. And that completely changed my entire outlook on life. I mean, I didn't realize it at the time. Growing up with such a strong role model like that. She was just mum doing. And I thought every mum on the planet was the same. It was only really when I became a teenager, and then started realizing that maybe she was a bit different. Maybe everybody's mum wasn't as positive and challenged in life as my mum. And so I hope to do the same for my kids.
That is so awesome. I just love how your mum set a great example for you, and now you're setting a great example for your children as well. And that's just so awesome. The legacy that's carrying on, it's great.
Yeah, and then hopefully my kids carried on to their kids. It's a generational. Some of these things are generational, right? You want them to pass on from generation to generation.
Oh, I love that story. That's awesome. Thank you. So we've come to our wow round. This is where I'm going to ask you some quick questions and you're going to come back with some amazing answers. Are you ready to inspire?
Oh, no pressure. Okay, I'll give it a go.
Great. So, Vaughan, what is your superpower?
My superpower? Oh, I was talking about this with my daughters. Actually, I was talking about what their superpowers were. What's my superpower? Never giving up. I mean, I've got this tenacity. I just don't let failure be an option.
Love it.
Yeah.
So when did you first visualize yourself owning a global company?
I guess I was in my young 20s. I'd come back from the UK after doing the compulsory OE to London for a couple of years, and I came back and I decided, you know what, I don't want to have a job. I want to do my own thing. And so started off with my first business back in 2001, and that was the beginning. And ever since then, I never looked back. I just created my own future, and even though it feels like what I'm doing now is a little bit of an overnight success, really it was a 13-year project to get to where I am today. So yeah.
Absolutely. So what 3 qualities do you believe you have that have made you a success?
A good sense of humour.
Good.
Again, something a lesson I learned from my mother. Always smile. Impatient.
Impatient or patient?
I'm patient. Well, actually both. So I'm impatient with myself, but I'm very patient with others. So
awesome.
I'm patient with haste. So
very good.
as quick as I can, and no quicker and no slower.
Awesome.
And my third one, I have an impressive moustache.
You so do. I have not seen anyone with such an impressive moustache. You are the top.
And I only say that because I probably get a comment on it every single day of my life, and so I guess I can't shave it off now. I mean, and so I wanted to fade into animosity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd probably like to add to those qualities determination, with the challenges you set yourself, you're really determined, and it's really great.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, yeah.
So, Vaughan, what would you like to be remembered for?
I'd like to change the world in some way. It doesn't have to be much, even if it's just leaving a really good legacy for my daughters. And so that I become an inspiration for them as they become parents. And anything above that is a bonus. I'd love to be able to contribute back to New Zealand in some shape or form to help, help the country economically, or just that contributing to the NZ Inc. thing. I think New Zealanders are very passionate about being New Zealanders, and I love this country, and I think we've got amazing things ahead of us. And so, yeah, I'd like to be part of that. I don't know how. I'm kind of busy at the moment, but I'll figure something out.
Sure.
Yeah, I think just being remembered. Like I said before, you've only got a finite time on this earth, and you can have all the money in the world. When you go, that doesn't really mean anything. I'd love to leave behind a legacy.
And I definitely believe you are. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So, Vaughan, you're welcome. Vaughan, what charity are you passionate about?
What charity am I passionate about? So there is a charity that my mother was involved with, which is the Agency for Spinal Concerns, given that my mother was, confined to a wheelchair for most of her life. And they do great things out at the spinal unit out in Otara, just helping inspire people who have had recent spinal injuries, and showing them that life doesn't end when you find yourself in a wheelchair. So my mother, she devoted a lot of her life to that. Just spending the time with people who'd had a recent injury, and and affecting them with her infectious smile and her attitude to life. And she and Task have they've positively influenced hundreds, if not thousands, of people's lives. So I'd like to see more of that happen.
Awesome. That's so cool. So what internet resource do you just love right now?
What internet resource? I'm in love. I'm in love with music streaming services. Spotify, iTunes Radio. It's just revolutionized my life. As a busy person, I used to be really into my music, but then as you get busy, that tends to be one of the first casualties, is just having half an hour and an hour just to sit and enjoy music. But now with the streaming audio services now, I can plug my iPhone into my car and be discovering new tracks, discovering new stuff. I don't want to turn into your parents where it's like, oh, come on, Led Zeppelin again? Come on, Dad, seriously? I don't want to be that sort of dad. So the way to discover new music is to listen, so yeah, I'm really enjoying Spotify and iTunes Radio at the moment. I couldn't imagine life without them.
I agree. They're so great. So, Vaughan, what book would you recommend to our mums and dads?
What book? My favourite book of all time. I don't know how relevant it is for being a mum or a dad, but it's Murakami's The Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. It's a bit of a geeky book. Because I'm a bit of a geek.
Awesome.
But it's a really interesting story, and he's a Japanese author. He's one of the most amazing authors in our current time. And it's just a really quirky, interesting story about kind of like a futuristic snapshot of life in Japan, but also just what it means to be mortal, and something that I'm really interested in is the whole separation between your subconscious and your conscious. And so that book is very much just exploring that idea of how much of your life is in control by your subconscious and how much of your life is in control by your conscious. Really fascinating. It's very, very amusing. It's got a lot of humour, but just a really unique and interesting story.
Sounds like a good read.
It is. I read it about 8 times.
Wow, awesome. So, Vaughan, what are you really excited about right now? I'm
really excited about the near future for New Zealand. I think it feels like we're on the cusp of something really cool.
I agree.
Yeah, we've had a lot of recent success through through the arts and through film, Lord of the Rings, Flight of the Conchords, with it seems like we're making our mark on the world with technology at the moment. You've got cool companies like Xero doing amazing things globally, and hopefully Vend as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it just feels like we're in the right place at the right time. New Zealand's always been punished historically for being so far away from everybody else. But we've proven that, I guess to a large degree, by the internet, by being
Absolutely.
with the rest of the world, we can make amazing film from down here and leverage off our natural assets. But we can also make amazing companies and build amazing technology, and we don't have to put things into containers and put them on boats anymore. We can export digitally globally. I think this is something that is going to be a big part of New Zealand's future. I'd love to see us, exporting the best and brightest minds and ideas to the world, but keep them in New Zealand, and not lose people overseas. So I think the time is right. Why wouldn't you want to live in a beautiful country like New Zealand but be part of a global thing? It just seems like
absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, I honestly believe that New Zealand is the best place to bring up children. So, and also, the technology and the internet, people are just an email away. It's really not hard to get in touch with people and connect and network, and it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always cool. Like, every few months you learn about a global business leader or somebody in the arts or something buying a holiday house in New Zealand. So, they obviously want to come here for a reason.
That's right.
Yeah. So we live here all the time. So
we do. Yeah.
So we're pretty
loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this last question is really to help our mums and dads who perhaps have a really, really good product, but they'd like to take it globally. And with your experience with Vend taking it internationally, what would you recommend to these mums and dads?
Perseverance, so we're running out of excuses now for not doing it. So the internet helps us with global reach. Even if you've got a physical product these days, it's never been easier to export. It's never been easier to do business globally. And so the only real excuse left is yourself. What's stopping you from doing it? But as a parent, it's really, super important that you can't. It's neither one or the other. It's neither business nor family. It has to be both. And so, at the end, we encourage people to bring their kids to work. Now my wife is part of the business, and we, even though we're incredibly busy and we're part of this high growth startup, we never let that get in the way of family time. So our weekends are our own. I mean, you're always having to write an email here and there and take a phone call now and then, but just making sure you're making that quality time for your family, because businesses aren't forever. And so, and they're quite risky, so with high risk comes high reward, but never ever put your family at risk, because, they're the only family you've got.
That's so inspiring. And I also love, I can so see why you won the best place to work. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and we're actually a finalist in this year's Workplace Awards as well. So awesome. That's super cool. Last year we won the small category because we were a small team of, I think we're about 25 people last year. But now I think we just ticked over 80 people, and so we're in a whole new category of the Best Workplace Awards. So we're going to win all of the categories.
Good on you. Slowly go through them.
Yeah, I'm not so thrilled about the enterprise category. Being 2,000 people. Yeah, that doesn't rock my boat too much.
It's pretty big. Yeah. So before we say goodbye, would you like to share some final inspiring words and perhaps how we can get in touch or follow you?
Sure. Inspiring words. This is where I need to sound all deep and meaningful, and I don't know. I mean, I find life pretty simple. The biggest barrier that I've discovered in life has always been myself, and crazy mental blocks as to why you wouldn't do something. And so really it's just about thinking, going a couple of layers deeper as to why you think you can't do something. There's no such thing as impossible. It might be incredibly improbable that you may or may not be able to do something, but it's very unlikely that it's impossible. And this is two words that people get confused all the time. Impossible means you will never do it. Improbable just means that it will probably be quite hard, but it's totally achievable.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so that's my mantra is impossible does not equal improbable.
Love it. That's great. So how can we get in touch with you or follow you?
So via the usual channels, you can follow me on Rowsell on Twitter. I've got a blog, which gets a bit of love from time to time, which is www.8degrees.co.nz. And Vend, my company is VendHQ.com, retail software for online retailers. They're the best ways to get hold of me.
Awesome. Well, everyone can go and find get in touch with Vaughan via our website, theparentalist.com, where the show notes will be. But Vaughan, I just want to say thank you so much for being so generous with what you've shared today and so generous with your time. And we truly feel motivated and inspired, and we wish you all the best for your future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I very much enjoyed it.
That was really inspiring, right? Hey, how about you head over to theparentalist.com and send Vaughan out a thank you tweet. It's as quick as clicking a button, and I know he'd really appreciate it. Hey, have a great week. Have a great weekend. You know what? You're pretty great.